All-Star Maxey in the building. The 76ers pick up their third straight win off Tyrese Maxey's 43 points. Let's break it all down on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What a big win for the Philadelphia 76ers against the Los Angeles Lakers. 3 straight, 118-104. Throughout this show, we're going to see how they won and how impactful every piece was, but the biggest piece being Tyrese Maxey, and look ahead to the next game. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On 76ers. You can catch us on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. And also now you can find us on your free daily newsletter. That's on LockedOnDaily.com. So make sure you go check us out today. Keith Pompey, be ready for the Philadelphia Inquirer covering all things Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Kayla Santiago, sideline reporter for the Delaware Bluecoats, the Philadelphia 76ers NBA G League team. Fun fact, Justin Edwards gets his first start as the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, the two-way player. But all that aside, Keith, Tyrese Maxey going out there on an absolute tear, extended his career best streak of 25 points in 11 straight games, doing it in front of the Eagles players that are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, Tyrese Maxey heard everybody say, oh, the Sixers should tank. Oh, he's not an all-star this year. And he said, I'm going to take that personally. He went out there and dominated, and the team followed behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great performance by Tyrese Maxey. I mean, the thing about it is, the one thing I would say, like you said, everybody says, it was 25 points in 11 straight games, but he actually averaged over 30 points in those games. Mm-hmm. And he was shooting very high from the three. But when you look at it, it's kind of sort of, last night, the Lakers used 5 different defensive coverages against Maxey, and none of them worked. And he was knocking down threes. He was just blowing past people. I mean, he shot 15 for 26 overall. I mean, he was 9 for 9 from the foul line. It was a great performance to him, and he was just being aggressive from the start. And the crazy thing is, and the guy, in his opinion, who is the greatest player of all time, LeBron James, came to town, and Maxey outshined LeBron. I mean, LeBron had 31. He had 8 rebounds, 9 assists. But what Tyrese Maxey was doing, hitting big shot after big shot, he basically outshined LeBron James.
That he did, and that's not easy to say, but Tyrese Maxey taking everything that people are saying. We've talked about just the leadership that he stepped up to do this year that he's had to do. Paul George goes down after they get some momentum. We both thought, and we both said that the 76ers, we don't know how we feel about them against Lakers. Now, granted, they're a very different team even when AD is off the floor, especially, they have LeBron and some other pieces around them. Clearly, the 76ers had a lot of injuries too, but Tyrese Maxey finishing with 27 first half points. That led the Sixers at the break, 73-57. Everybody following suit after that. Gershon Yabusele having a big game. I don't know what Eric Gordon's been having in his diet lately or eating. It seems like he's back in 2017-18 mode because he was out there spotting up as well. I mean, this team, they seem like they're having fun again. They seem like they're able to figure out to win. And that was the biggest thing that you and I talked about is without Paul George and Joel Embiid, this team is bad because they can't win. And that's why you were okay sitting those guys before that happened. Now they're figuring out ways to win. I look at the stat sheet and I say one of the biggest things that impresses me was the steals category. They had 14 steals in the game, shows that they were being aggressive on both sides of the floor. Keith, this is the big win, the third straight for the Philadelphia 76ers. What impressed you most, or what maybe shocked you most coming out of this game against LA and the Sixers coming out on top?
Well, the thing that got me with this team is, like, you look at the 76ers and they're a small squad, right? I mean, Yabu is 6'7". You look at Adembona, he's listed at 6'10". He's actually 6'8", right? But when you look at it, the hustle points, that's the thing that really stood out to me, and everything. So rebounds, they out-rebound them, the Lakers 43-39, right? We're talking about points in the paint. They had 56-46. second chance points 11-6, fast break points 23-12. And you talked about, the steals that they had, right?
Mhm.
Well, the Lakers committed 22 turnovers, which led to 27 points by the Sixers. So we talk about what Tyrese Maxey did. We can also talk about the balance. Kelly Oubre with 20 points, and Gershon Yabu and Eric Gordon both had 14, and Ricky Council had 16. So but to me, the thing that really stood out the most was the fact that how they just dominated in all the hustle categories.
That they did. And I think the biggest thing for me too is just, we've alluded to Tyrese Maxey and we'll continue to touch on him, just what he's been able to do. But Tyrese Maxey seems, and I don't want to say it too early because I feel like a broadcaster jinx can really be a thing. It happened in my game today. I said that somebody was perfect from the free throw line and then they doink a free throw. But I feel that Tyrese Maxey is officially back right now. I mean, you're looking at a player that struggled down the stretch a little bit in some games that, was taking some crazy shots. Now, granted, I still think Tyrese Maxey's shot selection can be out there sometimes this game able to reel it back in. But when you're talking about Tyrese Maxey, going through a crazy season mentally, emotionally, trying to rally this team together. It can't be easy when everybody else is saying, oh, the 76ers should tank. Tyrese Maxey is showing not only that he believes that they can win some games, but he also believes in this team that they can have some sort of push and they're not a team that's going to tank. And right now, Keith, he's putting this squad on their back. It's really impressive just what he's been able to do. He's averaging 30.4 in the last 10 games as well. And he's just been really, really good. But tonight to me was kind of a step up from what he's even been doing because it's the consistency that continues to be there for him, especially in these last few games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a consistency, but also I think, to be honest with you, the one thing is, I mean, he is putting them on his back, but the one thing that impresses me is that in the past he wasn't getting others involved as much,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now it just looks like, now you look at Tyrese Maxey and you're seeing it to whereas, yeah, he had 16 points in the second half, but Kelly Oubre had 10. You look at Ricky Council, he had 7. So, before it was just putting his head down, not looking to pass. He was just trying to do everything on his own. And I felt like they got hurt a little bit. And in that's fourth quarter right now, this one, Maxey had 2 points. Now, again, he did go to the bench after a little while, but Tyrese had 2 points. Whereas you look at Oubre with 8 and Council with 7. So that's telling me that he sees how the game is going. Guys are blitzing him, and he's getting rid of the ball, giving it to teammates. And that's something that he struggled doing in the past.
The 76ers, they were able to pull away in that second quarter, but the 76ers have been a team this year that have also lost leads, especially in games against somebody like LeBron James or anything like that. But it seems like it's starting to click. And I say that because you look at this game, you say, no, Paul George, you go, oh, here we go again. The 76ers going down the rabbit hole. Do you think it is time to say that it's starting to click for the 76ers? Do you still want to see a little bit more of a sample size? Because I will say this, and I will go out and say this out on a limb. They did shock me last night because I did not think that's how the 76ers were going to come out. I'm glad that they did, but I think things on my end are starting to click. How about you, Keith?
Well, it's hard to say that they're starting to click right now for me, because
Mm-hmm.
um I got to see this with Paul George and Joel. You know what I mean? Like, to me, in order for them to go far in the playoffs, Joel has to play right.
Right.
Now
Mm-hmm.
they are playing well with Maxey leading the show, but I need to see what they're going to do with Joel Embiid and Paul George and everybody else getting involved. Because what's going to happen is, unfortunately for Kelly Oubre and Eric Gordon and Ricky Council, who probably won't even play when they get back, but their roles are going to change. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? So to me, yeah, they look good right now, these last 3 games, but I have to see what's going to happen when Joel comes back.
And my clicking, by the way, people, is not that they're going to go on and win an NBA championship. My clicking is that it's finally starting to progress a
They're
little
starting
bit
to gel.
from what, right. And we haven't seen that. Now, you're absolutely right. When you look at Paul George and Joel Embiid coming back, that's going to happen. But we haven't seen this team gel even without them either. So it is good to see for the Philadelphia 76er and, of course, Tyrese Maxey, just really the catalyst for that for this team. So we're going to keep on the Maxey train here, what he's been able to do. All-Star Maxey, I alluded to that at the top of the show. Let's break that down a little bit because he is playing at that level right now after he wasn't selected. So we will touch on that and a little bit more on the other side here on Locked On 76ers. All right. So, people, when you look at somebody like Tyrese Maxey and you say, okay, he could possibly be going for a career night, and he had a fantastic night, giving the 76ers their third straight win against the Lakers, it clicks in your mind, and it has to, that you say, wow, it'll be really good to see that in person. Well, to be able to do that and to get those deals and to get the best deals, it's not even just the Sixers. It's not just the NBA, not just the NFL. MLB, MLS, NHL, you can get any game for the best price and the best value at Game Time. So go make sure you check it out today. They have the top 1% value in the most fantastic ways that you can be able to get it. And you don't have to spend a ton. If you want lower level seats, they give you the top 1% value. But you also can get an amazing deal if you want seats a little bit higher in the 200 sections or anything like that for any sport that you might be going to look out for. So you can go check that out on Game Time today. Make sure you take the guesswork out of all of it by downloading Game Time. You can download it. It's so easy in the App Store. Go get it for completely free, and you can see all of these fantastic deals. I always look at these deals, especially when I'm out of town, if I want to be able to catch a game or anything like that. I always send it to my family too, saying, hey, these are the best tickets. They don't have the most fees like other places do. That's what I want to be able to get for my family, for myself, and everything in between. So make sure you go check it out today. Download the Game Time app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Make sure you download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time, so make sure you go check it out today. Now, when the All-Star selections were being made, I did not think that Tyrese Maxey should have been an All-Star. And I say that because of the people that were in front of him. But maybe him being selected, and he's not going to come out and say it, or be not being selected, maybe put a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, because now he's starting to play as an All-Star Maxey. He can be the All-Star of the Philadelphia 76ers. That's what you want to see, right? But right now, Tyrese Maxey is trying to lead that charge. Do you think that maybe bothered him a little bit, Keith? Do you think all the noise of people saying the 76ers should tank with the chip on his shoulder? Once again, he's not going to go out there and say it, but hey, the more motivation, the better, because Tyrese Maxey is now going out there performing, and last night was an all-star performance from Maxey.
I don't think the fact that people are saying the 76ers should tank is like probably motivating them. I think maybe the fact that I'm an all-star, maybe I need to get back to playing myself, and maybe the fact that I'm good, and I don't have the stars with me that other players do, but no one's talking about me. I mean, that could have motivated them, right? That could have motivated them, but I don't think like the fact that the tanking something did. I just felt like, the problem is Tyrese kind of let the game slow down a little bit in his head. I felt like before he was pressing a little bit too much. Like he felt like he had to throw uh, a Sports Center top 10 highlight play or jumper in the first quarter of every possession.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wasn't letting the game come to himself, in my opinion.
And Tyrese Maxey, we alluded to earlier in the show, he outperformed LeBron James in this contest. And it was interesting, too, because in the post-game presser, he also talks a little bit about LeBron James. And he says, and I quote, I told him after the game, I said, look, man, I've waited 5 years to ask for a jersey. I've known you for a while, but I think I'm going to get it this year. So you have to think, too, LeBron's been around for a really long time. So Tyrese Maxey, I'm sure watching him before he goes into the league and everything in between. But you beat an all-time great. You get the Sixers to really their third big win on the season and third straight as well. He's been putting up really good numbers in the last 10 to 11 games. this is the performance you want to see continue from Tyrese Maxey. And I look at it too. We talked about the other pieces that he's involved. It's not just about Gershon Yabusele. It's not just about Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre. It's also the two ways that Tyrese Maxey before now didn't really get to play with. I mean, you look at Justin Edwards, rookie council, not a two-way, but he was assigned to the Blue Coats not that long ago. He had 16 points on the night. I mean, the way that Tyrese Maxey is able to get everybody involved is going to lead this team to success. And this is what the 76ers need to continue going forward to try and get to that playoff push. And Keith, let me ask you this, and this is a little bit far-fetched here. Do you see Tyrese Maxey leading this team to a possibly getting into the 8th, 7th seed in there in the Eastern Conference? Because right now, the Bulls, they actually just beat the Nuggets, so they're right above the 76ers as well. But do you see Tyrese Maxey able to get some more big wins for this team going forward, knowing that Paul George and Joel Embiid aren't going to be in the lineup every single time?
I mean, I think they're going to be in the lineup. I mean, towards the end. I mean, like we talked about it before. I don't think he has to do a superhuman effort to get him there. Like I'm looking at the teams behind him, and they all want to tank, right?
Right.
You look at Chicago. Let Chicago lose a couple more games, and then all of a sudden we're going to see a lot of their star players being shut down for the rest of the season. So I feel like the 76ers, to be honest with you, even if it's not Tyrese Maxey like getting 40 points, I feel like they're going to make it. They're going to make the play-in tournament. The thing about the Sixers, the one thing that we're not talking about, and a lot of people don't, is they have the 5th easiest remaining schedule in the NBA. So it's set up for them. But the question is, Tyrese Maxey, is he an all-star? You know, like I feel like he's an all-star player, right? But I don't know if he's going to make the all-star team. I don't. And I think that when we talk about that, I think that Tyrese Maxey has a lot of things going against him. A, the 76ers are in 11th place in the East, right? B, his shooting percentage wasn't as high as it is now, right? And I know that he's on this hot stretch, but right now you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, LaMelo Ball, he was the leader for the fan votes. Now, some people may argue LaMelo Ball doesn't deserve to make the All-Star team, even though he averaged 28.2 points, right? But Dame Lillard, you can argue that he does, right? Darius Garland from Cleveland, you can argue that he does. Cade Cunningham, that Detroit Pistons have had a great turnaround, and he's been vital for that. And then you look at Trae Young with the Atlanta Hawks. So to me, I'm looking at it, and I feel like the stuff that Tyrese Maxey is doing, especially on the defensive end, being 3rd in the league at averaging 2 steals a game, is commendable. But I feel like because of the 76ers record, that I feel like that he may be left out. And also, he wasn't really shooting the ball for a high percentage for most of the first half of the season.
I look at it too, and yes, Maxey had an all-star performance a night ago, but consistently we've talked about his shot selection, his shooting percentage, and really when you look at it too, just the guards above him right now, Tyrese Maxey, to me, it doesn't look like he will make the push this season. With that being said, I think that could possibly be better for this team. Let him go for the rest of the season with a chip on his shoulder. Let him show people that he's an all-star. And I don't think that Tyrese Maxey is I have to prove people wrong. I have to do this, that, and the other. But I do think that people are going to start to realize that he can put on an all-star performance, especially if he doesn't get selected. And that's what you want to see going forward for the Philadelphia 76ers. So do I think he should be in the all-star game based on maybe the last few handful of performances? Yes. Overall, do I think so? And Sixers fans aren't going to be happy with me here. I don't. I think there's players, you talk about Cunningham, you talk about Dame, these players that have had a little bit more consistency throughout the season, and their teams are overall just better. And that's really what people are going to look at too. So 11th place, all-star game. I know he's the best player on the team, but I just don't know if it's going to cut it for the guards there, Keith. I just don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't. It's not going to. Well, I don't think it will either.
We do not. So let us know if you think Tyrese Maxey should be an all-star, or if you want to see him maybe not make that game and have a little bit of his chip on his shoulder, because the next remaining schedule, the next game we're going to touch on, you need Tyrese Maxey to be on his best and continue to do what he's doing. Not saying he needs to score 40-plus points every single night, sharing the ball, getting other people involved. So we're going to break down the next contest coming up, because that will be happening today as well, right here on Locked On 76ers. So the Sacramento Kings are up next. That will be today at 7:30 p.m. Keith, how do you feel about the 76ers going into this game? They're coming off 3 big wins. The win last night, probably the most impressive, because we both thought, don't know if they're favored for that. The Kings are also a tough team to compete against, but the 76ers look like they're starting to figure out. How do you feel about this team going into this matchup tonight?
It's weird. Like, we're talking about Sacramento. Sacramento is a crazy team because, when they beat the Sixers, that was their, they fired Mike Brown, and then Doug Christie became the coach. And it was one of those things where, they won, that was their second win out of 7, right? And then they lose 1, and then they win 3 in a row, then they lose 2, and then they beat Brooklyn, right? But the crazy thing about it, they beat Brooklyn, 2 days ago. The crazy thing about it is there's more drama now.
Yep.
Look at De'Aaron Fox's last game against Brooklyn. He had 30 points, right? And 7 assists in 37 minutes. He's averaging 25.2 points on the season, 6.2 assists. He's playing his butt off, but he wants to be traded. So every time, the thing that comes to my mind against this team and what stands out about this team is drama, drama, drama. And, it could be something. Before, we felt like the Sixers were going to lose, but with the momentum being on their side and the drama that's going on, I think the Sixers may have a chance to beat them. Now, the difference is, it's going to be tough, though, tougher.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is Sabonis is an all. He's going to be an all-star. I also like DeMar DeRozan, right? So I'm just looking at these two guys. If Paul George doesn't play, if Drummond doesn't play, and even if Drummond does play, I just feel like Sabonis is going to be a double-double machine, and that's a tough matchup for them. But the 76ers could still possibly win this game.
That they could. If you would have maybe asked us 2 days ago, I think we'd have been like, oh, no, there's no way. But maybe some confidence brewing in this team a little bit after that big win against the Lakers. And you bring up the De'Aaron Fox conversation, and it's so interesting to me because the whole conversation about firing the head coach was, okay, well, maybe De'Aaron Fox, because there were trade rumors with him before that too. Okay, maybe you fired the coach because maybe there was some conversations there that they said, let's get rid of the coach and keep De'Aaron Fox. And then all of a sudden, Shams tweets once again that they're looking, that there'll be plenty of suitors. It's believed that Fox is a target destination in mind ahead of the 2026 free agency as well. And, they want to have a potential deal ahead of the February 6th trade deadline. So I don't know what's going on in Sacramento, and I don't know what's going on with De'Aaron Fox, but clearly something is not clicking for this team right now. And it is clicking on the other side for the Philadelphia 76ers. So I think this is a big opportunity for Philadelphia to come out on top. And when you look at the Kings schedule as well, they come out on top against the Nets you alluded to. Now, granted, they've played some tough teams as well, but they lost by 23 against the Knicks. They fall to the Nuggets as well. That was a 9-point contest. They come out on top against the Warriors. They beat the Wizards by 23, but they're coming off some tough losses right before that Nets game too. So this is what you want if you're the Sixers. You want finally the other team to be in shambles and the 76ers to start on clicking and try to continue to get some wins. I think the biggest key that I look at going into this game, Keith, at least for me, when I look at the 76ers, is I want to continue to see what I saw a night ago, because Tyrese Maxey, the way he got everybody involved, the way this team was scoring, the way they were going out there, you're seeing Eric Gordon lighting it up. Ricky Council is going out there having a big game. And you see a lot of these pieces continue. And I want Tyrese Maxey to continue to do that which I do think he will. What do you think is the key for the 76ers? You believe that they can come out on top in this game, and Sabonis will definitely be a problem, but any keys for you going into this matchup tonight that they could possibly come out with a win? One thing you maybe think they need to do here.
I mean, I think they have to duplicate the stuff they did yesterday as far as
Mhm.
effort, fast break points, doing all that. They have to, these guys have to play this game as if it's like a playoff game. I mean, they do. I mean, I get it. Sacramento is basically well rested. They've been sitting in Philly. Some other guys, who knows, may even watch the game last night, Sixers game. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I feel like they just gotta play with a lot of effort. Also, the difference is, let's face it, the 76ers should have defeated them when they played them on New Year's Day,
Yeah,
right?
good
The reason
point.
why they
Mhm.
lost was Paul George had 30 points in 3 quarters, and he only got one shot attempt in the fourth, right? At that particular time, Maxey wasn't exactly trying to find teammates. Eric Gordon was also balling, and he didn't really get any shot attempts either after in the fourth quarter. I don't think he had one. I could be wrong. But at the same time, I'm saying this to say is like, Maxey has to do the things that he did last night and things that he was doing the last couple games, where yes, I'm gonna get my points, but at the same time, I'm doing that in the flow of the offense because I'm setting teammates up to shine.
And he did that a night ago. And I look at the Kings too, just looking at the Western Conference as well. They're in a similar position as the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the Western Conference a little bit closer in terms of when you look at really, I'm looking at 10th right now, the Kings 24 and 22, the Mavs right above them 25-22. But the Mavs, they just defeat the Thunder a few days ago. The Suns in 8th, 24 and 21. The Timberwolves 25 and 21. Now, granted, the Warriors are only one game below the Kings at 11th, so that could be a swap too. So I think if you're Sacramento, Keith, you're also going through this drama with De'Aaron Fox, but in addition to that, it's still a lot of time left before we even look at a playoff picture, but they're also in threat of falling a little bit in the Western Conference standings. So the Kings, they're trying to figure everything out. There's a lot of drama going on there, and the 76ers, they're trying to push and say, we're kind of on the same playing field as you in terms of where we're at in our conferences, but we're starting to click. We're starting to go. We have the hustle. We have the chemistry right now with this current team. I'm taking 76ers in this game. I haven't been very confident in them as of late because they haven't showed us that much reason to be confident. But for once, I feel confident to say that this team is starting to click and they're starting to show us that, okay, maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel there as this team looks to compete going forward.
Yeah, the thing about this Sixers, they have to prove that they have to show people that they're not the same old Sixers. And what I
Right.
mean by that is when you look at them and you say to yourself, they're not going to win. In the past, they would always win those games. And
Mm-hmm.
then when people start to like say, okay, maybe they have something here, then they would mess around and lose, right? So this is a big game from that standpoint. Is like, look, yeah, you can't use not having not having Joel, not having PG, not having Drummond because you didn't have them against a Lakers team. And guess what? You basically dog walked the Lakers. Really, I mean they put it on them. So to me is the big thing is the consistency with the Sixers. We'll see how consistent they are.
And one thing I want to touch on too, the defensive side of the ball, we talk about the hustle points and everything in between from that Lakers game. And this is going to go into really the Kings game as well as we transition into that. There was only 3 starters that were in double figures and just double figures at that. LeBron, of course, had 31, Austin Reeves 13, Rui Hachimura 13 as well. Dalton Connect ended with 24, but a lot of that coming late in the game when he had that big dunk as well as some shots too. So defensively, now granted, I know the Lakers aren't much without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I understand that, people, but defensively, they were able to hold everybody else and they contained LeBron James for 31 points as much as you can contain LeBron James. But I think that's also something you need to bring in to the Kings game as well, because they have a few more weapons overall than the Lakers do. But you need to be able to play that same defense, go out there, be able to stop their other scorers. And that can lead you to success as well as those hustle points, as Tyrese Maxey having a big game too.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. Um, and that's something that I mean, unfortunately, right now, when you don't have a lot of talent, like individual, like all-star talent playing, those are the things that you have to do to win games. You have to out hustle everyone. Those are the things you have to do.
That they do, and we'll see if the 76ers continue to do that going forward. It's 3 straight for this team. Can they make it 4 on the back-to-back? They will take on the Sacramento Kings in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. That's today at 7:30 p.m. A big week of games here for the Philadelphia 76ers, and we will break it all down after the contest as well. Let us know your confidence level with the Philadelphia 76ers in the comments. If you think they have another win in them tonight, let us know how you all are feeling. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On 76ers. A big win for Philadelphia, 118-104 against the Lakers, and we'll see you guys next time.